Well, let's see. It's October 29, 2025. Um, this giant icy rock about the size of Manhattan has sped into our solar system. It's only the third interstellar object in our recent history to come blasting through. But not only is it going to blast through, it's going to do kind of a hyperbolic, semi parabolic orbit around our sun, apparently. And today, October 29, it's at perihelion. It's at its closest place to the sun that it will ever be. Well, at least on this orbital go around. And it'd be so interesting to see what's happening to it there, as whenever these icy objects, they're just frozen solid ice when they're flying through interstellar space. But when they come into the presence of a star, they get closer and closer to that star, they lose a lot of that material, off gas a bunch of stuff, and things change. So it'd just be interesting to witness that. The thing about the 3I Atlas, I think that's also really interesting, is when it hit the humans were having kind of a crisis. Their elites, the elites here on planet Earth, have pretty much taken over most of the institutions, if they ever didn't have control of them, but certainly here, like America. And they have really diminished the impact, the effect of this thing called the Constitution and a free press. And we no longer have a free press. So we have a captured media environment that's controlled by defense contractors and grifters and lobbyists and PR firms for the global hedge funders that have kind of taken over the whole planet. They pretty much own and control most all the media. Any dissenting voices that were able to still get through on social media have mainly been smeared, characterized as misinformation, lumped together with flat earthers and stuff like that, just kind of not been discredited. They don't have much of a voice. They don't have much reach. Many of them have been shadow banned. So if they were on a social media platform and they were starting to get popular and gain some audience, the platform itself, we know, with coordination with our FBI and so forth, has suppressed them. Many people, the voices, they've been suppressed, or no visibility filtered, just completely visibility filtered away. People can no longer even see them. And I had one of my one of my friends on Facebook was able to tell me, after years of conversing with me, looking at my post, wanting to see my post, she in fact one day informed me that she could not see my post. She even, searching for me was hard. She couldn't find me. I was still her friend, but I would say, hey, I posted this today. Can you see it? Do you see it anywhere? No, she can't see. So she got to where one of my best, most frequently interactive friends on Facebook was unable to see what I was posting. And this is confirmed, It's happened to so many people. And when that happens to you, it doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't make you feel like, hey, I think the authorities are really doing a great job with this COVID thing, and they just don't want my voice to be heard. That's all. They're nice people. They just don't want my voice to be heard. I think these defense contractors that have taken over the Biden administration, Raytheon, West Exec, they must be really nice people. There's no reason they want to censor whatever I have to say about the history of Ukraine or something like that. No, there's no legitimate reason they'd want to do that, right? It must be benevolent and nice what they're doing. Anyway, so in this case of 3I Atlas comes along, it's not a Democrat or a Republican. By the way, the comet that's flying through our galaxy right now, it is not a Trump supporter. Please don't be triggered. Okay, do not be triggered by 3I Atlas. It's also not in transition. It doesn't think that it was a a female comet, and now it's trying to become a male comet. So you don't have to be triggered by that. There's nothing, right? But we can't get good information about it. And so it's led to all this crazy speculation. It's like, are we a technologically advanced, quote unquote, civilization or not? Species or not? I don't know. It's hard to tell. We're not acting like one because we actually don't. We have great telescopes. This thing is moving really fast and it's pretty far away as it goes through our solar system. It's not really getting that close to the planets, okay? But I think it's going to come back around for maybe a little closer flyby. Looks like of Venus and Earth and Mars and Jupiter, the four biggies in our inner solar system. Looks like it's going to hit them on its fly back out, okay? And I really like this voice of this guy named Avi Loeb. He seems pretty nice. He hasn't been saying anything crazy. Much like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya with the COVID situation or Robert Malone, he's a educated person in that field asking relevant questions. And I feel like he's been Robert Malone, he's been pushed aside, he hasn't been Seth Rich, whew, thank heaven. But he's been Robert Malone, smeared, pushed aside. Oh, you're crazy, bro, just crazy. And again, he's not saying it's alien technology. He's just asking. He's saying, I'm observing how it's moving. I'm observing frequencies coming off of it. I'm observing things about it. I'm just asking questions and putting these questions out there to the rest of the community. I'm not definitively saying anything. And so that's kind of interesting how this phenomenon, this thing of just this comet flying through our solar system for a normal species of an advanced sort of near spacefaring civilization, this would be no challenge at all. Okay, another object, a third interstellar object, 3I Atlas, is coming through our solar system. We can observe some things about it and agree about it. Oh, look, there's a virus going around called COVID. We could observe some things about it and agree about it, but nope. It always turns into a kind of a weaponized psychological operation or some kind of weird thing, speculation on one side and a lack of facts on the other side. And everybody's crazy about it, right? But anyway, I hope we just get some great telescopic views of it and some good information about it. What an opportunity. This thing that came right out of Sagittarius, man, came right out of the center of our galaxy, speeding faster than anything else has ever moved through our solar system, and it's just been racing right through our solar system. So it's interesting along those lines alone. And then whatever else about it that we could speculate, or if it is some sort of alien probe. Arthur C. Clarke wrote a book years, decades ago called Rendezvous with Rama. And I think people should read that. It's a great read. It's a fast, nice read. Light science, you don't have to be heavy into the science to understand it. It's great. And it's about an object, okay, that comes into the solar system. And it seems like it's a lifeless chunk as it comes into the solar system. And then as it gets closer to the sun, things happen and it begins to come to life inside, kind of robotically come to life inside of itself as it comes towards our inner solar system. I'll just tell you that. Rendezvous with Rama. Philip K. Dick, now don't quote me on this. I may be getting this wrong. He did write a book. I think one of his last books was called Valis. Valis, again, please don't quote me on this. But I think it's interesting. Whatever he thought. But apparently he really thought, that there was a satellite. This mysterious matte black satellite out there. You just can't see it. It's just out there. It's been there for centuries, according to him, collecting data on us. And he thinks that it was put in orbit by some intelligence or other, interdimensional, near galaxy, neighbor, or what have you. But it was put in orbit around our planet, he believed, during the time of the Romans. That's interesting. So we had this black satellite out there orbiting, observing us for centuries, according to Philip K. Dick. Another thing that happened to Philip K. Dick is he had this experience, maybe with Valis or some kind of alien tech that he believes that transmitted information to him somehow, kind of telepathically, but kind of using this pink light. So he was beamed by a satellite with the pink light ray. Yeah, that's right. Philip K. Dick actually believed something like that near the end of his life. But anyway, so that's interesting. That's all out there. It's in the background. It's this 3-eye atlas. It's this thing. It's happening right now. And today is the day of perihelion. It's the closest to our sun. It's behind us. We can't see it. The amazing glare light of our corona, the sun of the corona, is so bright that we can't, it's eclipsing anything. We're not going to see anything. It's going to reemerge in a couple weeks. We'll be able to see it again in December, and it'll be interesting. What an interesting phenomenon. This is happening as the humans on the planet. It's 2025. They've already been through 2 world wars and lots of civil wars and the 60s and Oprah and Roots. And somehow after going through all that, they decided to go backwards again and subject themselves to psychological operations while having no free media environment. This started in 1996 under President Clinton with the, well, it didn't start then. That was a definite phase, a different moment. The consolidation of the media environment with the Telecommunications Act of 1996. A lot more of you should know a lot more about that. It definitely allowed for large media conglomerates to just consume up more media and more types of media, so they could just own all the newspapers and all the radio and 2 of the TV stations and any given media environment. You know what I mean? They could just eat it up. And that's pretty much what's happened since 1996. And of course, 4 or 5 years later, you have the staged terror event in New York, where elements of Mossad and insurance people and radical Islam and our intelligence agencies were able to collaborate and create a really awesome terror event in New York. It was an awesome psychological operation. I'm going to use a cuss word because that's what I used to describe it back then. And I think it's still very appropriate. Let's just say Operation Mind Frack. Operation Mind Frack. They fracked your mind in 2001. A fear was cast over the people, kind of a spell of fear. And in that fear, they had a terror code alert, like colorized. What's the threat level today? Is it level yellow? Is it orange, green, red? When it goes orange and red, there goes the fourth the Fourth Amendment and the First Amendment and the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Just, oh God, look, it's terror level red right now. Oh, no Constitution. Oops. So anyway, so they got all that in place, 2001. And then Poindexter, this guy who I think he'd been in trouble with the Iran-Contra affair, he was involved in that a little bit, this guy, Admiral Poindexter. It's always a sort of NSA, Navy guys, whatever, someone from in there. But anyway, he wanted to start this thing called total information awareness, using this era of fear and fear politics. Total information awareness. They're going to gather up information about all your transactions and everything and just store it all. And the NSA was kind of doing it. Edward Snowden revealed in 2013. Glenn Greenwald, Edward Snowden, Portress, revealed through the Guardian, articles in the Guardian, the names of these programs that the NSA was using to actually capture not just metadata from people's phone calls, but content from people, whatever, anything they wanted, they're getting it. Wireless wiretapping. This happened somewhat on George Bush's watch. George Bush Jr., born with a silver foot in his mouth. But during his watch, I don't know, 2004-ish, 2005-ish, the New York Times learned of the spy program, the NSA spy program, but was actually told by our government to not publish about it if they could actually just wait for at least a whole year to publish an article about it, which they did. This all happened. This is all fact. You can check it out. So we've been living under this like surveillance state, compromised constitutional rights, fear that can be ramped up at any moment, and these kinds of conditions since 2001. But there was still a lot of educated people around, so there was this tension. There was some constitutional respect for the Constitution. Some people around that were still into that, still fighting for that. So there's big protests of the World Trade Organization, for example, big protest, conscious objections to war when the terror state in America decided to say, well, look, we got attacked by these whatever on 2001 Muslim extremists from wherever, blah, blah. And look, they trained in Afghanistan. So we have to attack Iraq. Again. But then there was pushback against that. There was a huge protest of the war in Iraq in 2003. Started in early April 2003, late March, early April. Bombing begins in Baghdad. Huge, horrible war. They say it's all going to go beautiful. They think they're just going to bomb the shit out of the regime they want to get rid of, and then go around and spread around a bunch of soccer balls and water bottles, and everything's going to be all good. Unfortunately, they had hired kind of depraved, disturbed, sadistic people as private contractors. This is one of the first times we saw private contractors playing a real huge role in the actual daily operations of the conflict. So what we saw in Iraq was torture. Abu Ghraib, a person was hooded and made to stand on a thing, and their hands and genitals were being electrocuted, and we could all see this. Dogs were behind naked men. Things were happening. We could see these pictures from Abu Ghraib, very disturbing. That definitely was part of a psychological operation on our human culture, that this is now something that's happening. CIA black sites, rendition, torture. Gotta get used to it, Jeff. Bad guys out there, bad guys. We need operational intelligence. There was a show called 24. It had the ticking, tick, tick, tick. This idea that there's a terrorist who just knows something, and every tick of it's getting closer to the bomb going off, 24. And this idea that by torture, you actually get good information when you torture people. Which is that we know you never get operational information from torture. Once the person's been captured, your enemy knows they're gone. Your enemy kind of noticed, hey, where's Abdul, I made that name up. That's horrible. But anyway, they notice he's gone. They notice the person's gone. They know, okay, he's probably being tortured now by the French or what, like an Algeria conflict or something. Whatever he knew, we got to change the plans. Whatever he thought he knew, we now have to change that. So I can't believe I went off on this torture thing. But anyway, it's still operational in our minds. It's still really a big thing that's happening to us today. So fast forward to this hyper polarized political environment, Democrat versus Republican, um, Trump supporter versus more moderate Republican within the Republican setup. Within the Democrat side, you got kind of progressives, quote unquote progressives. We don't know where they are on the map anymore. They're all over the place. Um, and then kind of mainstream corporate Democrats. Now, unfortunately, when the right wing talk about them, when any Republicans talk about them, they just keep talking about this far left. Holy, they're all just far left and the socialist, communists, and they can't distinguish between actually corporate captured, militarized, pro CIA, NSA, kind of Anthony Blinken, kind of Victoria Nuland, center of the political DNC kind of people. They can't distinguish them from, say, like an AOC. And maybe there's a real reason for that. I mean, maybe AOC at the end of the day is not very different. She actually says all these progressive things and she uses this appeal to the base of the party to get elected. But then once she's in, she immediately goes and kisses Nancy Pelosi's butt, right? She goes and just bends to the ring, kisses the ring of Chuck Schumer, kisses Nancy Pelosi's butt, doesn't get any ice cream for kissing Nancy Pelosi's butt, no health care. She was going to get, as a candidate, AOC was really for Medicare for all. Once she became elected, AOC was, can't do that now. Can't ask for Med for all now. Oops. Can't try to force the Democrats to vote on it. Nope. Oops. Nope. No force to vote. Not now. And I'm going to go all attack Trump and attack free speech. And she actually said that deplatforming works on an interview with Jen Psaki, who is from a defense contractor known as West Exec, the CIA, West Exec, into the Democratic Party as a spokesperson for Biden, this nice redheaded, younger looking female. And she gets hired with MSNBC. So MSNBC-IA ends up hiring her, gives her a platform, a space, and she interviews AOC. And on that show, AOC says, oh, look, they banned Tucker from Fox News. Isn't that great? Isn't that really good news? That our First Amendment is being totally stepped on and that, private, you could say these are private decisions, so it's not, but it really is. Tucker Carlson is very popular, love him, hate him, whatever. He definitely evolved. None of my leftist friends were aware of his evolution. That's another thing that was very disturbing about them. They had posts and clips of him from his early past, and that's the only view they could ever have of Tucker Carlson. As Tucker Carlson evolved, their view of him did not evolve at all. And he became actually anti-war. And pro-free speech, very much would be the radical leftist positions of the 60s were being espoused by people like, Tucker Carlson. And the leftists, the ones that were still loyal to Chuck Schumer and the really ugly center of the party, completely captured by the defense industry and Israel part of the Democratic Party, they, of course, hated any progressive thing or whatever. And Bernie was also set up as kind of a faux opposition, Bernie Sanders. So he comes at the 1% versus the 99%, and he takes this language from Occupy, and it's really cool, runs these big popular campaigns. Of course, the DNCIA does everything they can do to smear him, block him, even to the point in 2020 where faux progressive candidate, the woman, Trump calls her Pocahontas. Oh my God, I can't forget her name. Elizabeth Warren. Her campaign gets infiltrated by Clinton people, and they do this smear campaign against Bernie. Bernie's gone. He's just a sheepdog. He says all this stuff about the rich versus the poor, and then he kind of Ends up bringing people right back to Hillary. No demands, no nothing. He was lame, faux opposition, nothing, no real opposition there. So we're in a sad state as a human species right now. I'd say 2025 right now, as this comet gets to come around, if it's just an icy rock that's going to come fly by us again, or if it's some kind of probe checking us out, whatever, it's coming by at a time when we might actually annihilate ourselves with nuclear weapons and or just subject a bunch of our poor people to digital slavery forever. These are things that are kind of actually in the works right now, right? So, but there's another thing, and that's you. That's your love, that's your consciousness, your heart, your spirit, your tribe, your group, your friend, your family, whatever you still have. In whatever way you're still serving your fellow man, whatever way you're still trying to reach people, break the bubble, pop the bubble. That's what I've been trying to do. Be this kind of disturber over here on the side saying, hey, but did you think about this? Nobody ever wants to hear from that guy. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, right? No one likes that. In Nineveh, they accepted the message of Jonah. That's why I like that story so much. And they were actually saved. Babylon, Nineveh, a secular place. It wasn't one way or another. It wasn't kind of like America, right? Anyway, so have a good one. Just wanted to say something about the state that we're in, and that AI Atlas is reaching perihelion today, and I think that's interesting, regardless of what it is. I don't even care if it's just a piece of icy rock. I think it's still very interesting. And I'd love to see some good images of it, and NASA to share and be open with us, and have some journalists continue to ask very good questions. I don't want this two sides thing. We have Avi Loeb on one side saying, oh God, it's alien tech for sure. Maybe, I don't know if he's saying that. I don't think he is. And then everybody else saying he's an idiot and it's just an icy rock, and take your 15th COVID booster and shut up. That's kind of our post-science, post-journalism world that we're in right now. People think a lot of crazy things and go around and say a lot of crazy things. Ivermectin is just a horse dewormer. You can't heal yourself or do anything for yourself. You have to wait for the Pfizer vaccine. Pfizer is good, and it's great that they're underwriting everything I hear on NPR. I just love Pfizer. And if you don't love Pfizer, I'm an anarchist. So we're out of our minds. But okay, anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. All right.